So the January transfer window can be quite a difficult market to navigate, and bringing in players is a very tricky thing to do, especially in our predicament where we do need some additions. One name that has caught our eye is Azzedine Ounahi, and has probably caught some of your guys' eyes as well at the World Cup. Did really well for Morocco, got them to helped them get to the semi-final. Let's start with an overview of if you're not really familiar with him, who he is, and kind of his key strengths as a player. Slough, I'll let you take the lead on this one.
So he currently plays in Ligue 1 for Angers. They are absolutely wallowing at the bottom of the table, and he is by far and away their shining light. He's 6 foot tall, and he's got this wiry frame that's quite deceptive of a man who possesses quite a lot of strength. He puts himself about, he gets involved, whether it's aerially or with a sliding tackle to break up play. He is basically a physical powerhouse. I really rate him because not only is he blessed with this physicality and engine to keep him going, he's also got a great eye for a pass, and his ability on the ball is one of the things that I think really shone through from Morocco. Now, I don't want to kind of overstate how good I think he is, but when you see a lot of Angers fans or even kind of French football pundits talk about him, the player they compare him to is someone else who we very nearly missed out on, we did miss out on, and went on to better and bigger things. That's Kante. So he offers that ability to break up play, that dynamism, but he has a lot more attacking ability than Kante. As I mentioned, they are wallowing, Angers, at the moment, and this would be a tough deal to get done because he did so well at the World Cup. We all know what World Cup performances do to a player, to an agent, to the price tag. They send them sky high. Yeah. But I actually think this is one that is really worth doing. And one of the things that I really like about Ounahi is his personality himself. Like, there's an interview with the Angers manager, ask him about his performances at the World Cup. Did you think he was capable of this? And he said, "Oh, I knew he was capable of this." He had a really tough period at Strasbourg where he did not play much, and the manager said, he took that really personally because he took it as the manager not having the faith in him to put him into the lineup, to play him and let him show what he can do. He's gone to Angers and he's absolutely blown it out of the water. He's been fantastic for them, even though they are at the bottom.
Okay, well, in terms of if we were to try and make a move for him in January, it looks like he's going to cost quite a lot of money, despite, Angers being, at the bottom of the league and, probably facing relegation, which is why they more than likely want to sell him now in January and cash in after that World Cup performance. As a player, is he someone that's going to come in January to add to the squad, or do you think he's someone to come in January to replace someone? For example, Thomas Souček. Would you replace Thomas Souček with someone like Ounahi, or are they two different players?
I think fundamentally two different players. Ounahi is not known for scoring or being a threat in that respect to goal, but what he is he's relentless. Now, if you look at him statistically for Angers this year, defensively, his stats are well below what you would consider the average for players in that position across the top 5 leagues. But what he is incredibly progressive and dynamic when the ball's at his feet. He will drive into space. He will push the team forward. So what it does is give you that player that is going to take responsibility. When they get in possession, they are looking to progress play quickly and vertically. He's not really that interested in that sideways or even backwards kind of passing. He wants to get forward and bring the ball forward. He has created a number of key passes in games for them as well, where again, he's also performing. And as you saw in the World Cup, and also what he has done with Angers, he's worked really well in tight spaces. When he is pressed, he's able to get away from them. He is able to, again, be composed in possession despite the pressure he is receiving. And obviously, Angers are in a really dire straits. So to have, essentially, to keep your head when those around you are losing it is quite a testament. And that's kind of the player he has been. Again, I think the thing that we're going to struggle with is the fact that he has a very high value, because Angers are, like many teams in Ligue 1, there is struggles financially because the league's a bit of a mess because of what happened during COVID and still kind of recovering. They are bottom of the league. So this is a player they can utilise now to potentially finance a charge to stay in the league. So you can understand why they're looking to sell. Leicester, if you look at it on face value, Leicester are above us in the league, but you could argue some cases, based on what we've done in the last 2 years, our squad is better than theirs, or our team is better. We have the opportunity for silverware in the Europa Conference.
Yeah.
But ultimately, our league position isn't necessarily enticing to go from one relegation battle to another. But again, that's the art of the sale and the art of the negotiation into convincing that our position is not our actual place. We are far and beyond that. I think he would have seen what we did in the last 2 years, and that would obviously have an impact. It's just obviously this year will tarnish that slightly for, I think, some players. But he is a player that comes in and he will replace Souček in the sense he'd take his spot in the team. I don't think he replaces him as a player, because defensively, I know everyone is really down on Souček, but he has been colossal defensively. You cannot dispute that. If you do, I suggest you look at the statistics around what he's done defensively and then come back to me on it, because quite frankly, he has been phenomenal defensively.
I think one thing I will say for Ounahi is just like, one thing we've got to hammer home for people is they are the whipping boys of Ligue 1. Like, his defensive stats look poor because of how much he has to do in that side, or how much work there is to be done in that side. It's a bit like when we had Scott Parker, and Scott Parker was by far and away the standout player, but it was, if you just looked at the table and then you saw that he won the PFA Writers of the Year, then you'd be like, what the hell's going on here? He's in the relegation side. It's the same thing. So he doesn't offer as much as Souček defensively, but he does offer a lot. And I think that one of the things that's key to stress as well is that his game is improving it's not every week, but every season. This is a massive step up, but it's a step up that I feel very comfortable that he could take.
And in terms of being a January signing, is it something we necessarily need at this point in kind of your opinion as a player? Because we've got, Paqueta, Rice, Downs, Souček, Fornals, Lanzini, that are all kind of playing in that midfield role at the moment. And, in terms of the numbers, is he someone, that's already valued between 30, maybe even 40 million? Is that smart business from us to try and sign someone like that in a position that we don't probably necessarily need to focus on when you look at the other areas that we're kind of lacking at the moment?
So for me, yes, we can't get the ball from our midfield to our attack. He's a player that will drive possession. And when I say drive possession, he literally grabs the ball and he will drive you up the pitch. His progressive stats are pretty incredible for ball carries. The amount he dribbles per game and how he actually obviously retains possession again is incredibly high. To have a player that can take that level of responsibility, this is something that one of the things that we've lauded Declan Rice for, being able to take the ball under pressure, beat his opposition man, and then burst forward. Now imagine the thing that we've talked about all of the time, in that Declan Rice is a very good number 8, but he is not a world-class 8. And if anyone wants to question that, Bellingham is a world-class number 8. Declan Rice is not that player. Declan Rice is more of a 6, more of a traditional number 4. You know, he's that kind of player. He's not a number 8. And he's a world-class player in that defensive midfield position. All of a sudden, you have the ability to turn around to Declan and say, sorry, we're not going to indulge you anymore in this, allowing you to be as open in terms of having free reign in that midfield. You're going to have to be a bit more structured and disciplined. You're going to have the opportunities to be more open, but you're going to have a player that is then going to be sitting in their best possible position where they excel, who can break possession up or slow possession down for the opposition, and then give it to players like Ounahi, like Paqueta, to then go and wreak havoc as you can then get the ball and in transition break quickly. All of a sudden, it means Paqueta can sit higher because you've got another player who can carry possession. And it just changes the dynamic in our midfield. One of the things that we've struggled with is that Rice has often sat higher than Souček, and Souček has then had to be the player to try and orchestrate. And his passing, even over 5 yards, is hit and miss. So all of a sudden, if you put a more secure player like Rice deeper, who has a good range of passing, that opens up the pitch. You've got a player who can then drive with possession and is essentially just ferocious and constantly pushing forward. Again, you're starting to push teams back because you have players that are seizing the initiative rather than waiting for opportunities and spaces. They are taking responsibility and, you know, pushing and driving the team on.
I think as well, you've also got Vlasic leaving, and that opens up that spot. You've also got the potential of Lanzini going, and what I would say to people is that when
can't get in the team as well either, can they? So
when you think about what that was financially, you know, it potentially gives us about 15 to 20 million pounds to play with, and that covers a large chunk of this deal. Now, you replace 2 players, and one of whom is the player that we've heard a lot about, can sit in the middle. You know, Lanzini, we were told, can do this role. He can help break down teams. This is that player, but he's 6 foot and he's got a lot more pace. He's younger and he's got a lot more athleticism. Him coming into this side completely changes that midfield area because it does allow you a lot more freedom, but it's that dynamism and ability on the ball. For all of Souček's shortcomings, he offers you that physical out there. He offers you the work rate. However, this is that player, but with the ability to carry the ball, to play that pass. And for me, it's just a total no-brainer. I would probably be saying that, you know, it's not ideal timing, and particularly with where we are in the league, it's, you know, it's unfortunate that we can't capitalize on the value Souček had, or even particularly, like, you know, if we're in trouble at the end of the season, there's questions over how much money we could get for Rice. But this is a player that you can easily replace or look to replace part of that side, part of that puzzle with. And I can't stress that enough.
I'll put it this way. I would sell Souček to bring him in.
Yes.
Simple as that. I would do that.
I think we're all in agreement on that. And I guess, you know, as well as, you know, long-term planning goes, it looks like we could be getting some money next summer for Rice anyway. So could be some forward thinking there if there's a deal to be done. But what do you guys think? Would you like to sign Ounahi? Do you think it'd be a good addition in January, or maybe one that should be left for the summer? Or what do you guys think? Would it improve our midfield, and how would we kind of balance that midfield with him in there as well? Make sure to leave a comment if you haven't. And we'll leave it there for now. Sorry.
No, it's fine. That's cool. It's cool.
Like and subscribe.
Yes, like and subscribe as stuff.
Yeah, hit that button.
Hit the like button, subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.